day. Bring the change, empower you to change the game, that's the aim. Never be afraid to trade or get paid. Nobody can trace you on the blockchain. Time for action, now we gain traction. Pirate chain for private transactions, cause we need some free interaction. Here we go, now it's time to catch on.
Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto golden run. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and go.
When ARRR is low, gonna buy that dip. Hodl and do some private flips. Following simple finance tips so that one day I can buy a pirate ship. Stand up and dare to dream big, cause you know it's time to be free. Love and respect is what the world needs. And of course, privacy.
Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto golden run. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and go. Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto golden run. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and go. As far as I've heard, the fight's still on, the chain's not cut and the block's not gone. We pirates make our regular call, we're with the captain, crew and dawn. Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto golden run. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and go. Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto golden run. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and go. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and go.
All right, let me do a mic test real quick. Not sure if I can hear anything, but I'm also not sure if anybody can hear me. So let me know if people can hear me. And I can hear you too. Perfect. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the monthly meeting for, what is this, October now? Man, time is flying. All right, so let's get this thing started. First thing on my list of things to talk about is Kucoin. Now, we got a message from Kucoin basically stating that we don't have enough liquidity on their exchange, or volume, I guess you would say. Apparently, I think we're sitting at somewhere around $80,000 worth of volume, which puts us on number 500 something out of 700, I think, something around there in terms of volume per pair. So the thing is about them basically wanting to make sure that we increase our volume over there. Otherwise, we run the risk of potentially being delisted or putting into some other, or tagged as an ST project. So for those of you who actively trade, things like that, it would be really helpful if we started trading over at Kucoin, which would help out our volume as well as keep our pair solid over there. So for those who run market makers, things like that, you know, you can move them over to Kucoin as well, just to help out with the volume over there and make sure that we stay alive on Kucoin, that is. Now, I think, as far as I know, I think that Kucoin doesn't really have any KYC unless you transfer 10 grand or more per day. Jax, can you update on me on that? Because I think that's the rule over there. Because if I remember correctly, it is 10K or 1 BTC or something like that per day as an allowance to withdraw. Otherwise, you do need to KYC. Oh, gotcha. So for the average person, they're not going to actually realistically hit that per day. I mean, if you're hitting that per day, you're doing pretty well for yourself. I'll say that. So yeah, for those, just to recap, we need more volume on KuCoin. So if we can shift some of that volume from trade over there, that'd be really, really helpful. The next thing I want to talk about is war on Ethereum. We have everything pretty much prepped and getting ready to get created, as well as the plan moving forward. We will be listing on Balancer. So for those of you who know about Balancer, it's really, really interesting stuff. I can't really go into the technical details myself in terms of Balancer because I'm still not 100% familiar with them, so I don't want to mislead anybody. But Cax will post a link just like he just did for the Balancer AMM DeFi protocol. So the contract should be published this week, and it'll be the same setup as the BSC version. Yeah, BSC, yeah. BSC version, just like before, there's going to be a Gnosis vault. So that brings up another point. So for those of you who don't know about how we set up the BSC version, we put a lot of security measures in place. This way, nobody can steal tokens that are one-to-one with R and things like that, like you've seen before in other hacks or whatever the hell goes on in this space. So we don't have a minting function just to prevent any potential hacks and minting of additional tokens, things like that. So that's completely mitigated. What we do have is a set supply that's a percentage of the total supply of R. And we have a certain percentage of that that's within the gateway that's locked down. And then the vast majority of it is locked in a Gnosis vault. For those of you who don't know what a Gnosis vault is, it's a tried and true, absolutely secure method of multi-sig. So you can think of it kind of like a multi-sig wallet where you need a bunch of people to sign on a transaction for that transaction to occur. So for example, there's 7 people that are in that vault wallet, that 4 of which have to sign in order for funds to be moved. This prevents rogue actors, things like that. Granted, I'm not gonna talk about who those people are. I'll just say that they're part of the team. But 4 out of the 7 need to sign off on anything for anything to happen within funds being transferred. Realistically, based on how the BSC bridge has operated and how everything is going, which is really great, we don't really foresee the need for utilizing all of the funds in that Gnosis vault anyways, which basically what would happen is the only transaction that would occur is between the Gnosis vault and the gateway. This way, if, say, some jerk tries to basically lock out the gateway by converting all of their R to war, and there's no war left in the gateway, we can add additional tokens to that gateway so users can still come into war. That was one of the primary uses of the additional tokens. That plus, if it was super popular, and people going back and forth all the time, and we needed additional tokens to help with the demand, we have that on hand. But realistically, those tokens will more than likely stay locked within that Gnosis vault, because I forget what the percentage is, but it's not nearly enough to warrant additional tokens being in the gateway. So, like I said, as a security measure, imagine if, say, worst comes to worst and the gateway gets hacked, right? It mitigates the amount of funds that would be, it basically mitigates the damage that would occur as opposed to all of those tokens being in the actual gateway. So there's a bunch of security measures in place, and just to reiterate what I've said a long time ago, the gateway is extremely secure, locked down like fucking Fort Knox. So nothing to worry about on that end. But this is crypto, so you never know. There could be some brilliant hacker out there that could just do some damage, like we've seen in tons and tons of different projects before. Oh, and another thing to mention about that is, like, just what Cax wrote in chat. It's been 1 year since war has been implemented, and 0 issues so far. I mean, granted, there's been some support tickets here and there in terms of, funds, but most of the time that's a user error, which is, standard. But, all these resolved tickets from user errors and things like that have been a great sign of how it's been running so far. So for the Ethereum version, it's going to be identical to the BSC version in terms of staking, in terms of the amounts and everything like that, and the amount that's locked up into the vault, or into the Gnosis vault as well. But instead of being just like on a regular DEX like Pancake Swap, it'll be Balancer. And there's also Balancer rewards and things like that. So I'm gonna dig a little bit more into Balancer itself, but like I said, the contract for War on Ethereum will be created this week. The tokens will be thrown into the Gnosis vault, and then we're going to get everything prepped and ready to go, which it'll be done this month. I can't obviously give you an exact date, but it'll be well before the end of the month. So you'll see a bunch of announcements about that. Now, the next thing on my list has been DM'd to me in terms of tons of questions on it, in terms of when, things like that. So the Lotto is still going through bug testing. I have personally gone through and tested a bunch of stuff on it, and there's still minor tweaks that need to be made. For the most part, works great, but we want to make sure that every single bug that we can possibly find is taken care of, and then I'll be also pulling in some additional people to do some testing, try to break it, all that other fun stuff. But the way it'll operate is a little bit, I'm not sure if I exactly said how it'll work. The way that it's set up now is basically you choose 3 numbers and it'll cost 1 R. And from that point, there's a set time. I think it's going to start out weekly or maybe shorter than that. Actually, that brings up a good point. Let's, for those of you that are listening in, let me know what you prefer. If you're going to use it and just play around and stuff like that, let me know what you would prefer. If you want it daily, if you want it weekly, things like that. Just post up in the chat and let me know. This way, we'll have the community input on that, which I think would be really good. But basically, the way it'll operate is it costs 1 R. 90% of that ticket purchase goes into the pot, and then the 10% goes to future development and maintenance of the entire site and everything that has to do with the Lotto and stuff. And then from that point, if you draw all three numbers, you win the entire pot. Or if multiple people somehow draw all three numbers, then that pot gets split. So we originally had a runner-up system, but we did I won't say we, I'll say the lead dev on there, who's absolutely freaking brilliant, did all the permutations and math behind all this stuff and figured out that if we had a runner-up system that basically had two numbers and you can win a small amount, that could be taken advantage of relatively easily, and it wouldn't require that many ticket purchases. So if there was like a big pot or something like that, someone could literally just, every week just do the same combinations and potentially just continue to draw from the pot way more than what they were spending. So we kind of nixed that idea. So it'll essentially be just a three-number winner, and the pot stays in there no matter what until somebody wins. So over time, if the pot grows to say 1,000, 10,000 R, just like the real lotto, if you were to, win with three numbers, you win that entire pot, which would be pretty sweet. So, and on top of that, there will be the initial pot that goes in anyways. So it won't start from zero ever. I think it'll start with 10R each time. So it's like a 10 to initially, technically it'd be 11 or 10.9 to 1R spent if you were to win from just one ticket and you were the only ticket that played. But in terms of the timetable for that, I am pushing the dev team to knock it out and get all the bugs that I've personally found taken care of, most of which have already been taken care of. It's just a few things here and there. But it's, like I said, as soon as that is done and I don't see anything else, when I personally try to break it, I'll have several other people try to do the same thing. And if everything's good with that, then the release date will be announced, which I'm really hoping that it would be by the middle of this month. So it's everything else is done. It's just bug squashing. That's it. So I don't foresee it taking too much longer. So I know I said last month, but as we all know, development is always a crazy animal to try to peg a timetable on. So we all know how that feels. Alrighty. So the next thing on my list to talk about is the website. So we are currently going to be redesigning completely the website. We also may be changing the address as well. So we'll still have pirate.black, but if we do change the address, pirate.black will just become a redirect to the new website, just to make things easier. So for all you old school people that have been here since day one, or the first few months, you can still use pirate.black no matter what. So we'll always make sure to keep that active and up and just use as a redirect. Quartermaster, in terms of the ETA for the lotto, said double it and add your mother's age. Yeah, exactly. It'll be on a Tuesday. Which Tuesday I can't say, but it'll be Tuesday. But for the website, there's a bunch of people working on it. So shout out to Benny. Shout out to Zardigrade. Shout out to Scott. Shout out to Cosius and Cax and all of them too that have been working really hard on just getting all the information that we want to be conveyed on there, and hashing out just, the fine details of, getting our point across in terms of who we are, what we stand for, and how everything is set up and things like that. So there's a lot of things to discuss in terms of, building a website. For example, like whether it should be static and content management and what content should be on there. It's a pain, royal pain. So for all of you guys that have been working on it, huge shout out to you guys, because it's not fun. But timetable for that, TBA. So we have no idea when this will be released. It's just a matter of time in terms of getting all the stuff hashed out first, because we want to make sure that everything is prim and proper. So, and the next thing is the hardware wallet, which I believe has seen its first sale. I didn't even realize it was up for sale yet, to be honest. But it's seen its first sale, which is awesome. I believe everything is being wrapped up as we speak. So therefore, we should have this thing announced and posted up for sale in, I would assume, this month. I was hoping that Mulroy would be on, but I don't think he's around right now. So I'll have to come back and basically hopefully he'll be around for the US meeting, and if he is, I'll get some timetables. Oh, it's already on barter? Shit, yeah. Okay, sweet. And that's Mulroy's official listing on barter, correct? Nice. Okay, Quartermaster, if you could do me a huge favor and post up the link to that, that'd be fantastic. Oh, and also barter has been going through some updates, things like that. Quartermaster, if you want to talk about any of that stuff, feel free to hop on or raise your hand. I'll put you on. I think you can just come into the speakers area. So there you go.
Yeah, hey, there's not much going on, to be honest with you. Just finessing things like improving the picture uploads and things like that. I mean, it's constantly being worked on, but it's a bit of a quandary, just like the website that you guys are working on. It's a question of whether you spend a load of time tweaking what's here, or just get a list together, getting ready for barter 2.0. So whilst you won't see many changes, there are things being thought about, ready to upgrade as and when resources allow. That's about it.
Awesome. Also, Phil T, is I'm assuming you meant, is the code safe? Yes. There's also a GitHub repo on it as well. I could post that later today if you want to check that out. Yeah. Also, Benny reminded me to say that the BTC Pay server was pulled into the Parachain network by Forge. I'm not too up to date on that, so it'd be great to have Forge speak on that. I'm assuming he's not around right now, but he generally is available during the US meetings, which is in 5 hours. Yeah, the BTC Pay server is basically a payment gateway. You can have to think of it like that. So for those who are operating stores, things like that, want to accept Parachain as a payment, there's yet another method to do so with that. Awesome. Thanks, Quartermaster. Yeah, so if you go to barter.com/add/details/pirate-chain-hardware-wallet, which is linked below in weekly meeting chat, I'll go ahead and pin that so this way everyone can find it. Oh, we have too many pins. Oh, thanks, Cax. I think that you tried to pin it at the same time I tried to pin it, and you beat me to it. So too fast. Yeah, exactly. You're a bot. Oh man, can't compete. Can't compete. But yeah, so for those of you interested in buying it, go over to that link, and you can go and place your orders. I'm curious as to if there will be an official website or something like that to purchase it. However, I think I like it better being on barter because it gives direct usage to barter. So okay, we got a question from the community, which is how much liquidity will there be for war on ERC20, which is Ethereum, for those who don't know what ERC20 is. That all depends on you guys. So it'll be, like I said, the exact same way that it is on BSC, which is completely community driven in terms of liquidity. So the amount of liquidity on BSC, I think there's like 100,000 or something like that. I got to double check. But awesome. Yeah, it was close. Cool. So it'll be just like that because we want to make sure that this is a community thing because the people who will benefit from providing liquidity, or the community that the community will benefit from providing liquidity because you get rewarded from every transaction that occurs utilizing war on ERC, on Ethereum or BSC. So, and from everything that I've heard so far over the entire year that it's been around, people have been rewarded pretty well for all the transactions that occur. So, and I think Balancer adds another dimension to that too with the Balancer token, depending on if the community from Balancer votes for war. Like I said, I'm speaking not completely with the knowledge that I need to really give the information properly. But um, like I said, I'll do some more digging on Balancer to verify everything that comes as a benefit from utilizing Balancer. So, and I'll keep you guys posted. All right. Does anybody have any questions, or Benny, Cax, anybody else? Did I miss anything? I don't think I did. Cool. Any questions from the community, from socials, anywhere? Yeah, I'll give it just another minute. Quartermaster says when Lambo. When the market stops being so garbage. Phil T says on Moon Day. That's awesome. But yeah, as we all know, markets are garbage right now. I don't speak on price because that's not my prerogative. My prerogative is the advancement of Pirate Chain as adoption grows and everything like that. So for me personally, the important thing to take away from the current situation with crypto is what projects are still doing work and what projects are not doing anything. Because fair weather projects never make it in anywhere, in any space at all. So as you can see, that's one of the main reasons why we do these monthly updates to update you guys on everything that we've been working on over the previous month and things that are coming up in the future, because we don't care what market it is, we'll always be working. So all right, I'll give it just a few more seconds if anybody has a question. If not, then we'll go ahead and actually, there's been some cool updates from Polarity. Let me see if I can pull Wolf in, because I remember talking to him about this, and I was going to bring him in for this month's meeting, but completely slipped my mind. So let me see if I can get him. And yes, Benny, the Edge wallet is happening. A wallet is happening. I'm not going to name Edge. So, but that's something that I can't actually talk about. So my bad, Edge. Didn't mean to say that. But yeah, Benny, I can, since obviously you're on the team, so I'll talk to you about that afterwards. Let me see if Wolf's around. If he's not around in the next few minutes, then we can go ahead and call it. I think he is around. And while we're waiting, like I said, any questions, post them up, and I'll answer to the best of my ability. Starting to think that was a trick question, Benny, because I think you knew that I really couldn't talk about it, and I slipped up. So kudos to you. All right, I'll give him 2 more minutes. Okay, mining R. From a question based on YouTube from a community member. So to mine R, obviously you need an ASIC that handles Equihash. So basically, all you need to do is buy an ASIC. And ASICs are really, really, really simple to set up. It's practically plug and play. So all you would really need to do is, whether you buy it secondhand or brand new, just plug it in to the electrical socket, plug in the Ethernet cable, and then from that point, just go on your computer, type in the IP address of that ASIC on your local network, you use the login information that comes with it to log into the actual ASIC, and then from that point, just type in the information needed, including your wallet address, including the pool address, the port, and things like that, and then you're good to go. The reason why you need an ASIC is because Equihash, there's ASICs out for it. So if you try to mine using a GPU, you're not going to get anywhere, pretty much. It's, I think, even with the 3080, it's something like maybe 30 kilohashes, if that. No, actually, I think it's like 4 kilohashes. I forget. I haven't GPU mined in a very, very, very long time. But basically, yeah, it's very, very, very low. And with an ASIC, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of kilohashes, or hundreds of thousand. Hold on. You're competing with ASICs that can do over 100,000 100,000 hashes. I don't even know how to word it. I'm having a major brain fart with that. Cax, you want to help me out with that? Okay, thank you. So basically, GPUs, if I remember correctly, it's like 1 kilohash. And with ASICs, it's, depending on which one you get, it's over 100,000 hashes, or 100 kilohashes. So yeah, like I said, I haven't GPU mined in a very long time, so my numbers may be off with the GPUs, but with ASICs, it's a much larger number than the singular GPU. And realistically, the cost, while it may have gone down now because there's, the network hash rate for everything has gone down since the bear market has happened. But back when the Equihash ASIC came out, there have been several different iterations of it, but back when it came out, it was pretty cheap. It was maybe $1,000, $2,000, and for a 3080, you're looking at close to $1,000 anyways. So if you mine with the GPU, you're still using a shit ton of power. Granted, the ASIC uses more, but it's way more efficient at what it does. Plus, you're not burning up, good GPUs that could be used for gaming as well. And I know the whole entire gaming community was really pissed off at crypto for the longest time because of that. That's why the whole GPU market skyrocketed in terms of price. All right, well, it looks like Wolf can't make it right now. So, oh, actually, shit, he's here.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
What's going on, buddy?
The usual, not too much, just watching the Bitcoin USD chart and hoping that things turn around sooner than later.
Cool. So, we previously in a DM discussed about updates with Polarity. So, what kind of stuff has been going on with Polarity? Because I know that Polarity is one of the first dexes, actually is the first dex that supported Pirate, and has been working really close with us in terms of, updates and things like that. So,
Sure, so since the last time I think I've came on, we've had a number of changes. Most of them are on the side of usability, as we know that there were a number of features and things that were difficult for users. So when the DEX first launched the integration, it relied on like memo style deposits, and that's been taken care of. Everything's just a direct deposit at this point. Our most recent 1.6 release, we added a set of desktop widgets to the dashboard, so you can view your transactions directly from the dash. We have a balance aggregation. We're working on tightening the profit and loss statement on the dashboard, which would be able to track over like a couple different ranges, like a week, a month, and 3 months. Outside of that, we made some changes to the gateway tracking system. So now for deposits and withdrawals, you should be able to view the active transit and see where it's at, get a status on whether it's if there's an error that occurred or anything. And yeah, if anyone was curious, we also have fiat support through Transact. So users that are looking to buy crypto with their debit card, they're able to do that now.
Sweet.
Yeah, and then yeah, I'd say that's pretty much the brunt of the current updates. And you know, we're always looking forward to making things more usable for everyone. And yeah, hopefully that's been a little helpful.
Yeah, and just to remind everybody, trades on Polarity cost 1 penny. No matter what size trade it is, you can put $1 million worth of USDT on there to buy ARRR, and it'll still only cost you a penny for that trade.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest selling points for Polarity is I believe we are still the only flat fee DEX. So compared to an automated market maker, for example, it's going to take 0.3% of your entire trade value. If you were to look at like a centralized exchange, they're taking 0.1% of the entire trade volume. And so as you know, over time, you can obviously run your own numbers and easily see that the cheapest place for you to place bulk orders is definitely Polarity.
Awesome. Is there any upcoming features that you're able to talk about?
Unfortunately, the one that's kind of most exciting for me, I can't really talk about, but we are getting closer and closer to debuting it. It should be coming out sometime around Q1 of next year.
Sweet. That's right around the corner, pretty much.
Getting
All
there
right.
quick.
Anything else you want to mention before we end the EU monthly meeting?
Not off the top of my head.
Alrighty. All right, everyone. Since I haven't seen any other additional questions, appreciate everybody coming. And the US meeting, which would be pretty much the exact same thing as the EU meeting, will be in the next 4 hours and 45 minutes. So if you want to attend that one just to hear the same thing and possibly additional questions from the community, things like that, by all means, you can join in. And until then, appreciate everyone coming, and I will catch you all next time.
We came to save the day, bring the change, empower you to change the game, that's the aim. Never be afraid to trade or get paid. Nobody can trace you on the blockchain. Time for action, now we gain traction. Pirate chain for private transactions, cause we need some free interaction. Here we go, now it's time to catch on.
Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto golden run. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and go.
When ARRR is low, gonna buy that dip. Hodl and do some private flips. Following simple finance tips so that one day I can buy a pirate ship. Stand up and dare to dream big. Cause you know it's time to be free. Love and respect is what the world needs. And of course, privacy.
Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto golden run. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure is done, we'll take our treasure and go.